Hello everybody, Trainboy90 Productions here. Welcome to another episode of Trainboy90's Custom Showcase. Today's episode will be a group of 8 well-known engines. So further ado, let's get into them, shall we? Today's group of customs are the Culdee Fell engines. So first we're going to have a look at the number 1 engine right over here, Godred. This right here is Godred. I made him out of the Hit Toys Fearless Freddy. So now let's take a look at Godred. This is my series version of Godred. Of course, seen right here, right in front of you. So here he is, right over here. His face, obviously, I printed it because that's what I usually do with the engine's faces. A lot of cases. Right here's the little piston right here. I actually cut off the piston right here from the Fearless Freddy model. Not a good runner, but kind of a gear slipper. I painted this part right here, that purple. Gonna have to touch him up a little bit, but he's a pretty good custom for what he is. His number, of course, is printed. Take a nice close look. Here's his face, of course. The rear face is drawn on like the rest of them you'll be seeing. I misdid the cab, but it's alright. This is the best I can do for a Culdee Fell locomotive. Yet again, the piston is right up here, and the mechanism for the rods. I also removed the buffers, like with all the other Culdee Fell engines, as they have no buffers. It is just that unique coupler system. The windows are painted. I also removed the Fearless Freddy whistle and just threw a whistle in yellow. This was a custom I actually did a couple of years ago, of course. And now we're going to be taking a look at the next Culdee Fell engine. And I forgot, I also removed the middle wheels as well. As you can see right here. And actually, he's actually made from a Fisher-Price Freddy, not a Hit Toys one. Now, let's take a look at the next one. The number 2 engine. Right over here we have the number 2. This one right here is Ernest. He was actually made from a Hit Toys Freddy, not Godred like you've seen before. Godred was actually made from a Fisher-Price Freddy. And man, he's a really, really good runner actually. Here's his face. As you can see, I'm gonna have to replace that. Gonna have to redo I'm right over here. The top of the boiler is obviously black, as you can see. His nameplate is also printed. Also did the little piston right here. I removed the piston that he used to have over here. And this right here is milliput, basically. His nameplate, number 2. And his cab. This little part right here I also painted. It's supposed to be part of the locomotive. And the face, this is the back, the face, and number 2. Godred is number 1. I also drew the face as well, obviously. The nose and the mouth. Like with the other ones, no rear buffers, because they're not supposed to have buffers on the Culdee Fell, obviously. Here's a nice look at the number 2, yet again, and Ernest's nameplate. The piston right over here. I'm going to probably redo little bits of him, but hopefully I'll give him a little update here and there, obviously. Like with Godred, I removed the middle wheel, just like that. I used it on my Fearless Freddy that I used for my series, obviously. He's a very good runner. The other one has gear problems, obviously. The cab I redid as well. And sides here as well. I will have to touch him up a little bit. And that is Ernest. So we'll take a look at the next Culdee Fell Engine, the number 3. This one here is the number 3, Wilfred. He was the last one I did of all the Culdee Fell engines, obviously. He was one of those 5 that I made from engines I bought from China, interestingly. So we're going to take a look at Wilfred. I recently touched him up a little bit. Well, just not long before I started this video. Here's his face, as you can see. Probably want to redo his face so bad. Literally. Like with all the other Culdee Fell engines, he has no buffers. I removed those buffers, obviously. Have to give him a little dust off here and there. Using a paintbrush to remove any dust off the engine. Normally I don't do this while during videos, but I figured to do it anyways. And here's the nameplate. It's a little crooked, but this is the best I could do. For Wilfred, the cab, you can see a little bit of the milliput over here. I redid the cab entrance right here and the sticker. Here's the number 3 up close. The piston, like with all the other Culdee Fell engines, I also sanded down the old piston that used to be right here and made more of what is the piping or whatever it is for the piston rods or whatever that's called. And this little part right here is supposed to be part of the body, but interestingly I painted that as well. The back of Wilfred has the number 3 and his face I also drew as well, and his windows. The other side of him, as you can see, the cab ended up doing a little differently, but oh well. I'm not good at matching cabs. Number 3, very close. This is the best number 3 I can do. Excellent. Okay. Now that's his nameplate right there. Same as the other side. Might have to touch him up a little bit, but other than that, he is a pretty good custom. I did touch up the funnel as well on this guy. So, face I also printed. Here's a very close look at his face. Yet again, this idea to me was inspired by Wong Village. If you haven't checked out his channel, you can check it out with the link. And now we will be looking at what is the very first of my Culdee Fell Engine customs. So let's get into the first of those, the number 4 engine himself. And the railway was named after. This right here is the number 4 engine, Culdee. Like with Wilfred, the last Culdee Fell Engine custom I did, it was made from a Chinese Fearless Freddy. A Fearless Freddy model that was sold in the third market countries, specifically China. But now, let's take a look at Culdee. So, here's his face, you can see right here. And I also removed the buffers as well. I might have to touch him up a little bit. Here he is, right over here. This is my first attempt on doing a Culdee Fell engine out of a Freddy. Here's the nameplate right over here. And I did have to make modifications to this little guy. The paper is coming off though. I might have to paint that, so glue that. Oh well. There's the piston. This is supposed to be part of the side rods, obviously. And there's the number 4 right over here. And cab. This right here is supposed to be part of the body. It's part of the chassis on the model. And here's the back of Culdee. Right over here, you can see the number that I did, the windows, and of course, the lining, like with the other Culdee Fell characters. The number, yet again. I couldn't really match it, but this is the best I can do. A little piston. This is what goes to the piston right here. This right here used to be a Fearless Freddy piston, but I have since cut it off, removed it completely. Obviously, here's a close look at his nameplate. Top of the boiler is obviously purple, just like with the previous one. And yet again, the windows and the whistle were also painted on. Like with Wilfred, I removed the Fearless Freddy whistle and replaced it with one I painted on and painted on the windows. So next we'll be taking a look at the second Culdee Fell Engine custom I actually did, and that will be the number 5 engine. We will be taking a look at him next, shall we? Right here is the number 5 of the group. This is Shanedooiney. So we're going to take a look at Shanedooiney and see what he is about. So here's Shanedooiney, made from the same Freddy as Culdee. He was the second of my Culdee Fell Engine customs I actually did. There's his face. I should probably change his mouth though, because you know how I edit mouths, right? Just paint. And zoom into here. This right here is supposed to be part of the rods, going right out to here, the piston right on here. Shanedooiney's nameplate is also printed. And there's his number, number 5. And I also did paint. This part right here is supposed to go to the body, but it's on the chassis. His cab door. The reason why it's all different sizes is because it's the best I can do on a Culdee Fell locomotive. And we're going to turn his back. There's his face. Like with all Culdee Fell engines, he has no buffers. So the number 5 right here, pretty much. Same number as James on the Northwestern Railway. Here's the back of the cab. Yet again, I kind of mismatched it. Oh well. Fine. This is the best I can do on these guys. The number is also printed. You can see he has a very nice looking model, obviously. There's the nameplate, the pistons right over here, and it's supposed to go to the rods right over here, goes right into here, and the boiler is also purple. I also did actually do the windows and the whistle, and now we will be going to one of the 3 I made from a Trackmaster Chinese Duncan. Let's get to him. Right over here we have the number 6 of the Culdee Fell Railway, Patrick, formerly known as Lordharry. So, well, or we'll have to look. See if it's one way around. Here we have Patrick, or Lordharry. So he was made from a Chinese Duncan, pretty much. Like with the other Culdee Fell engines, I removed his buffers. Of course, I forgot to paint this little couplet part right here, of course. This one received a lot of modification, especially to the bodywork. This right here was all made out of milliput. Pretty much had to do some of the bodywork from milliput. The cab is very much in the back. It's like with that, I had to make pretty much modifications to the chassis to accommodate this look as well. These parts right here were made from cardboard. Pretty much from cardboard I had. Pretty much. And this is a very interesting custom. One of 3 I actually did this way out of a Duncan. Still kept the pistons. Well, kept the rods. Never mind. Why did I? Of course, I should have probably trimmed down the whistle, but unfortunately, I didn't have time to do that at the time I was making this custom. Maybe if I minorly update them, I probably will. The windows, of course, were painted, so is the whistle. I know Wong Village basically slanted down the boiler, but unfortunately, I don't have the audacity to actually do that kind of modification to a model like this one. And take a look at the back. The face is smaller than the other ones because of the model I used for this. The windows, number 6, no buffers. And right over here was previously yellow, but I painted it black, just blending with the chassis. Nameplate number 6, and there's the cab. This fella is a very interesting custom of mine. And on the underside, I also added their names, even though they were made from Duncans, pretty much. Patrick, Lordharry, to actually tell them apart. So now we're going to take a look at the number 7 of the Culdee Fell Railway, made the same exact way. Let's look at them. Right here we have Alaric. Of course, Alaric was pretty much made the same way as Patrick, or Lordharry, whatever name he goes by now. So let's take a look at Alaric. Here is his face. Like with Patrick, Lordharry, he has no buffers. Made the same exact way, little different, not by that much. Pretty much, I did this with cardboard. Pretty much, I used cardboard on the body, pretty much, and milliput just to make the distinct shape, as you can see. And the nameplate is also printed as well. So is the number. The cab I actually did myself. I used cardboard on this guy too, pretty much. I don't know how Wong Village did that on his, but I used cardboard on my model, just to shape him a little more. Here's the back, the base, number 7, and the windows. Made the same way. Not much to say. Yet again, the number 7 and the nameplate. Yet again, I made the same modifications, except on the underside it says Alaric instead of Patrick Lordharry, pretty much. Modifications I made were the same exact ones I made to the previous one. Yet again, I covered the coal bunkers and wanted to give him this distinct look that he actually has. Basically, the reason why I went with Duncan instead of Percy, because the Duncan models were easier to form into that kind of style. The Percy models, I would have to do it a lot heavier, but I felt like buying from China was a little cheaper. Well, despite shipping costs. So obviously, thanks to that Chinese website, I was able to acquire a few Duncans to make into custom. So 3 of them I made into Culdee Fell Engine. So next, you're going to see the last of these Duncans that I made into Culdee Fell locomotives. So we're going to take a look at this last one next. Shall we? This right here is the number 8 engine. This right here is Eric. So Eric was pretty much one of the most interesting ones. Like with the previous 2, I used cardboard to actually form the shape, and as well as milliput. The base I printed, the buffers I removed. I'm gonna have to do a little more detailing on this fella. This right here was made of cardboard, so is this little framing had to use the Duncan model, and see how I can cut it out. Obviously, I have to use a lot of cardboard on this guy, so he's a very interesting one. I'll have to touch him up a little bit, obviously. Face is printed, the front face, and the rear face. I also drew the number 8, same number as duck. Windows are square. Oh, I forgot to do right down here, black. I'll have to redo that after the end of the video, obviously. Yet again, very good runner, like with the other ones. Yet again, I used milliput on parts of the model, just to make him more like Eric, obviously. Had a little trouble starting, obviously, but like that, you can see the nameplate right over here and number 8 right here. Same on the other side, obviously. Yet again, I actually made this dome, like with the last 2. Obviously, did the same thing on the last 2. I made this dome myself, and I kept this part right here. This whistle I'll have to remove though, because it's not supposed to be part of the locomotive. So, anyways, there's a very close look at the face. The funnels I kept the same. So, end the video right over here. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of Trainboy90's Custom Showcase. Thank you for watching. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you all next time, and peace out to the viewers. Bye!